안녕하세요. 리츠의 아버지입니다. 영상 마지막에 구독자분들을 위한 4월 무료 이벤트 진행하오니 참여하시고 혜택 받아보시기 바랍니다.
Like the first time I tried to take money out at Christmas, like I literally wanted to give cash in the kids' Christmas stockings. The bank's like, what do you need that cash for? Like, well, it's none of your business. Like, it's my money. I'm like, well, technically it's our money. And the first time I tried to send money to Coinbase to buy Bitcoin, they're like, oh, 14 days. What do you mean 14 days? Like, didn't you read the fine print? But most of us live our lives in the world of fiat, and we don't really think what's happening, right? We see our stock values go up and we don't stop to think about, well, that's because they're priced in a devaluing currency. Or our real estate goes up. Oh, well, that's because it's priced in a devaluing currency. Well, wait a second. Is there a better technology? Well, yes, there is. But part of the problem is, okay, you're telling me that this better technology is this magic internet money that I can't really see and I don't really understand. Like, well, don't try to understand it. Just think about this. What is a ledger? Right? What's a ledger? Right? It's just a recording of a transaction. So let's say I lent you money and I lent you $100, 10% interest. And I wrote down on my papyrus tablet, because I'm an old guy, that you owe me $100. You come back a year later, and to pay me the 110, you worked hard to make the 10% interest. You come back to pay me. It turns out I was an unscrupulous guy, and I erased the 100 and I wrote 200. So Paul, you owe me 220. You're like, no, I only borrowed 100. Says right here in the ledger, 220. So 838 years ago, the Medicis said, you know what, that's a bad system. One ledger, corruptible, you have to trust the person, and some people aren't trustworthy. So here's what we'll do. You write down 100, I'll write down 100, and we, the benevolent Medicis, for a small fee, will make sure those ledgers match. So you go away for the year, earn your 10%, you come back. Again, I'm an unscrupulous guy. I go to the Medicis and I say, you know what, guys, I'm going to change my number to 200, but I'll give you half. And they're like, done. Awesome. That's free money for us. So you come back to pay the 110. And I say, no, it's 220. And you're like, hey, Medicis. They're like, oh, Paul, you must have written the number down wrong. We're sorry. Again, we and they were not trustworthy. And I'm not saying that all the bankers are not trustworthy, but some are not trustworthy. And so the system of a centralized dual entry accounting, 838 years, it's been awesome. But here's the thing. Now, through innovation of technology, we have a better system. We have a third ledger, right? A blockchain ledger. It's just a ledger, right? It's just a recording. And I write down 100, you write down 100. And the third ledger says, yep, you guys did a 100 transaction. And now it's immutable and permanent and secured by thousands of people who can't be corrupted. To corrupt one person, not a problem. Corrupt two people, harder. To corrupt thousands and thousands, just not going to happen. So we have a better system for exchanging value. You know, the most powerful force in the universe is human creativity. Bar none. So, and I'm stealing this from Jimmy Song. Jimmy Song, great line about this. He says, look, if you work for a fiat wage, and this is a highly charged political word, you're a slave. Ooh, people don't like you to say that. You're just anyone. If you work for a fiat salary, you're a slave, because that money can be stolen back from you through devaluation of the currency. If you take that fiat and you put it into Bitcoin, you are free. Because now, every time they devalue the currency, your value goes up. So what that does is it breaks the shackles of being a slave, and now you have more time to be creative, to be innovative. Now, you may choose to be a leisure person, that's fine, but it gives you the opportunity, if you so choose, to unleash human potential. And so I think the acceleration of great stuff because of Bitcoin and because of digital world is just going to be extraordinary. Okay, which is what the white paper says, peer-to-peer electronic cash system, implies that we're all going to be using it to buy coffee. Well, kind of. What it really means is that I can exchange value with you without an intermediary. Doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to go to the store and buy coffee with it. So we have that today, right? It is digital gold. It's a perfect store of value, but I can send you value peer-to-peer with no intermediary. I don't need a bank like right now. But part of the issue is unless everybody is using it, it's probably more convenient for me to keep my store of value in Bitcoin, my savings, convert a little bit to fiat to use where, when I'm going to go to Tokyo, they still want yen. So as long as nation states cling to borders and, national identities, it'll be harder to have that total vision of a digital future for all. But I will argue that Bitcoin is a medium of exchange. It's just not the every minute of and every transaction medium of exchange. And today, that's probably not bad. And the reason I mean that is because there's still so much uncertainty about the future. I believe it, you believe it, but there are people that don't. That's why the volatility is still so high.
마크유스코의 영상 재밌게 시청하셨나요? 복습 차원에서 영상 내용을 간단하게 정리해 보겠습니다. 첫 번째, 법정화폐의 가치는 점점 하락하고 있다. 두 번째, 은행과 정부는 당신의 돈을 통제한다. 세 번째, 비트코인은 금융 자유를 제공한다. 네 번째, 블록체인은 부패 없는 금융 시스템을 만든다. 마지막으로 미래 금융의 핵심은 비트코인이다. 이 정도 소주제들이 있겠네요. 우리 모두 비트코인을 투자하는 투자자로서 비트코인과 블록체인에 대해 조금 더 관심을 가지고 공부해보는 좋은 습관을 가져보시죠. 구독자분들이 무료로 참여하실 수 있는 이벤트를 오픈했습니다. 첫 번째, 트레이더들이 실시간으로 관점을 분석하고 공유하는 관점방 참여해보시고 불장 대비 포트폴리오 무료로 받아가시기 바랍니다. 그리고 앤드류팀 자체 제작 알파빗오토프로지표 무료체험 신청도 오픈했는데요. 무료 신청인 만큼 받으실 분들은 구독과 채널 알림 설정 한 번씩만 꼭 눌러주시면 감사하겠습니다. 빠른 신청 방법은 010-4667-8146 번호로 구독 문자 남겨주시는 분들께 알파빗오토프로지표 혜택 제공해드립니다. 하단 더보기란과 고정 댓글에 관전방 커뮤니티 링크 남겨뒀으니 참여하셔서 좋은 정보 받아가시기 바랍니다. 구독과 좋아요는 영상 제작에 큰 도움이 됩니다. 시청해주셔서 감사합니다.